Hello everyone, we're back. So I'm gonna apologize if this is a little loud. I'm hoping this works. I just wanna have a little cardio chat with you guys. I think this is one of those fun topics that isn't really common in the bodybuilding world. And I know for a lot of people just getting into it or looking into competing, the dating world and your relationships and trying to manage having a relationship with someone that isn't necessarily into fitness or into bodybuilding at all can really be challenging. And I want to talk about some of the things that I've personally experienced that we've overcome and difficulties and how to kind of navigate whether you're in a relationship trying to get into bodybuilding or you're a bodybuilder trying to date and don't just want to be stuck to dating within the bodybuilding and fitness world itself. So just in case you all don't know me or don't know anything, me and my husband have been married for a little bit. He is not a bodybuilder, not into fitness. He's just a normal guy. We met through work. So he works in the coal mines and just a regular guy. Met him, doesn't really follow a meal plan or diet, doesn't track macros or anything. So when we were first dating, he kind of knew I was into this realm. I had talked about it a bit and he had his boundaries set. He didn't really want to deal with bodybuilding. He wanted to have a partner and have a relationship where he didn't have to worry about all these routines and the food, and he just wanted to be able to spontaneously go out to eat and do things and not be so restricted. So for him, that was a really firm boundary. And at the time was when I was in a long off season, during when I was still in bikini before a fit model came around, and bikini was starting to change and I wasn't really sure about if I wanted to push to keep up with the standard or go further. And so for me at that time, it was really easy to step away and be like, you know what, I'm aligned with that. That is totally okay with me. And I think then it was a bit of a different dynamic because I had previously been in, I stopped, we were together, just normal people relationship. I was still in the industry as a coach, but I then decided to step back into bodybuilding. And that's really where a lot of this comes back around with knowing how to discuss these things with a partner or who you're with, or just trying to date someone and understanding some of those difficulties and challenges you're going to need to overcome. I think the first and biggest thing is you have to accept either your partner or whoever you're dating for who they are. Do not try to change your boyfriend, your husband, or the guys you meet. Don't try to change them to become a bodybuilder or to fit this fitness mold. If you're with someone, you've chosen them for who they are, and it's not fair to them for you to try to force this also onto them. Don't try to change them because you are changing. That is a huge thing. Help them learn to accept what you're going for. And we'll get into that, but I think it's really important that it's okay if you guys don't both see eye to eye on this. As long as you have other shared interests and likes and morals and see the big picture in life the same, it's not the biggest deal. It might feel like it, especially the deeper you get into the fitness and bodybuilding realm. You feel like you're surrounded by people and this is what everyone does. But when you step back and look at the normal world, look around you at the grocery store, look around you at Walmart, you don't really see other bodybuilders. You see normal people. So if you understand the world is not all encompassing of bodybuilding, it can be a lot easier to still have your relationship and understand, okay, this is not the biggest part of who we are in my dating life and my relationship. And if you come at it with that focus, I think it can be a lot easier to have these discussions and move forward because you're not trying to change them and make them adapt to your new interest and hobby or to your hobby if it's someone new coming into your life. But you can accept them for who they are and show them this side of you and have them at least respect it. So, second piece, with having them respect it or learn to respect it, you have to set boundaries and expectations. And when I say this, it's not just about you as the competitor, but also your spouse or whoever you're dating. because they deserve to have boundaries as well. And I think that's really important, and what a lot of people miss is because obviously when you're in prep, things get harder and you have a lot more that's expected of you. Communicate those things with who you're dating. Tell them, hey, when getting into this, it's going to be a lot of time at the end of prep. I'm going to have cardio, my meals are going to be strict. Explain these things to them. Let them have a heads up on it so that they can adapt with you and be prepared as well. Because I think the biggest thing is when all of a sudden this flip switches and you go from being a normal person to the last 4 weeks of prep, it feels like all you do is fitness. It can be like you're torn away from your family and your relationship suddenly. And if you don't communicate that ahead of time, it can create a lot of negative emotions and feelings towards mainly the sport, but also your choice in doing it. So set those expectations with the people around you, and also understand that they're going to want time from you as well. Make sure that you listen to their boundaries and they say, well, I still want to see you and be present with you. I don't want you to be a zombie and ignore me and be rude. So let them have those boundaries as well, because it's a two-way street. It's not all about them only supporting you and them giving up, because at the end of the day, they did not sign up to bodybuild, you did. But if they love you and support you and you help them to understand why you're doing this, what got you into it, and what's going to happen, they can better be prepared, and it allows them to show up for you in a meaningful way. The next big thing a lot of times is, what if they don't like it? What if they just don't like bodybuilding? They don't get it. They think I'm crazy. You can't change people. You just cannot. So understand at the end of the day, if they don't understand it, if they think that it's unhealthy, unnecessary, you can educate them and teach them, give them resources, explain what it means to you, explain why you're doing it. And you can provide all of these things, but you're not going to forcefully change someone's mind or anything like that. Again, set your boundaries with this. Tell them why it's important. Tell them why you're doing it. Tell them what level of support you would like, and be like, listen, I know you might not like me going on stage in a tiny little bikini, but for me, this is a culmination of my effort and self-belief. And I just want you to, give me hugs on the hard days. Help me. Don't try to make me go watch Netflix when I need to go do 20 minutes of cardio. Explain to them those things, and don't ask for them to be following all of your favorite competitors and to understand what the scoring is. If they don't like it, just ask of them, don't be rude to me about it. Be respectful. And I think that's a lot easier place to ask someone to meet you when they have never seen this, heard of it, or been around it. So to get them to that point will allow them to show up more meaningfully for you. So for example, my husband wasn't keen on me doing bodybuilding, but when I had kind of got the itch again and they had announced Fit Model, he said, well, I don't want you to look back on this later in your life and regret that you didn't go for it. And I think that's a really crucial, important place to sit with it, is if you explain to them what this means to you and why you're doing it and how it benefits your life and can make you a better person and show up more meaningfully, they are so much more likely to be supportive of it. And my husband he's gone to a bunch of the shows. I mean, he's been to both shows I've done since I've got back into it. He's been there at my athletes' shows with me. He takes photos for me, and he is just such a big, vital support system for me now. Even though when we initially had started dating, he didn't want to be involved with it. So by me explaining that to him, but also me doing the work to make sure I still show up to our relationship as me and for him throughout the process has been so critical. And that brings me to my last point. Make sure you still show up in your relationship and make them a priority, even with all of your extra responsibilities with bodybuilding. So finding ways to have alternate date ideas so that not everything is based around food. Making sure that if you get a cheat meal or a refeed, that you prioritize spending time with them and sharing a meal with them like what they're normally used to. That can be a really helpful key thing to make sure that they still feel loved and that you're putting in the time and effort to support them as well. Additionally, besides the point of meals, is still making sure that you give the mental effort to them as you have throughout your dating. So making sure that even when brain power is low, you remember little special dates, you still listen to them, and you still care and show up in ways outside of just, food and all of the other things. Because a lot of time the little things add up to way more. So one thing that I really prioritized last year's prep was the evenings were like wife mode. I tried to make sure that I had enough energy saved up at the end of the day, no matter how tired I was, that I still was present in my normal self for my husband. Because I knew that if he saw me like a zombie, he would dislike the sport, he would hate it. So even when you're tired, you can't just show up for your cardio, because we're all gonna do the cardio, we're gonna do the lift, you're gonna do it even when you're tired, when you're hungry, when you're cranky. But you need to keep that same energy with your interpersonal relationships, because you can't give that up for the sport. You have to make sure that you are saving that part of yourself for what matters the most in your life. And so even when you're at your most tired, do your best to show up. Don't get mad at them. Don't get snappy. Don't take it out on them. Because remember, your partner, your husband, your boyfriend, whoever, they did not sign up to compete. You did. And at the end of the day, if you take that out on them, they're going to have negative feelings associated with it because of who you become at the end of prep. So making sure that even through the hard times, that you still maintain who you are and that you present yourself in a way that you're going to be happy with and proud of at the end of it is one of the biggest things, because a lot of times the pressures on relationships come when you don't regulate yourself within that. So making sure you make that a priority and an active thought in your head so that you don't let these things ramp up and catch up to you all out of the blue. So just to wrap it all up, I think the key parts are setting boundaries, setting expectations, and finding ways to show up for whoever you're dating or married to throughout your bodybuilding experience, whether that be making sure that you still have meals with them, that you don't isolate them, maybe going out to the movies or on a hike instead of the standard dinner date during prep, and just doing the little things and just being present. So you can definitely make relationships work with someone that is not really into fitness or bodybuilding at all and that maybe doesn't like it. But at the end of the day, it really comes down to thorough and clear communication and expressing your needs and your wants and your reasoning behind getting into bodybuilding and doing it in the first place. Because if you have a connection with that person and you both care about each other, there's ways to make it work, even if this is not a shared interest at all. So I hope that was helpful for you all. I hope that it maybe shined a little bit of light on what a relationship within this world can look like, even if who you're married to doesn't like or really get bodybuilding or care for it, but still shows up to support you in that way. So I'm gonna go finish off this cardio and I will talk to you guys next time.